Good morning, meteorologist Gerald Lansford here, and you're probably waking up to some surprise with just how quickly things have changed with the forecast, as we've seen a big shift southward in storm track that now puts us right in the middle of the highest totals in the Omaha metro. So I'm going to, in this live stream, talk through how things change as far as the morning drive, where we stand now with anyone who's out and about, and how the road conditions are likely to change as we get into the afternoon and the evening as we bring some of that snow in, how much snow we could see. All of that in this live stream. So first we'll run through right now where things stand, and we are looking at a pretty quiet commute. We have a lot of schools that have called out for the day with the current forecast. So we do have that full list available for you on our website. We have it running on First Alert 6 as well. But a lot of the districts in the metro have called out for school. I do want to note that Council Bluffs, Lewis Central have early dismissals that are scheduled for today. So that will be how they handle the conditions. But as you're looking here, top left here, that is 480 downtown. No real problems there. We go to the top right, that is Dodge right around the UNO campus, and a little bit heavy traffic, but it is moving in pretty good shape. Bottom right is 144th and West Dodge, and that's also problem-free. And then the JFK, which has slowed down at times right near I-80, but is mostly doing pretty well. And when I show you the map, there's only a couple of spots that have even hints of slowing. We've had that off and on around 370 and I-80, not the case right now, looking pretty good. 144th right around I-80 also with some minor delays, but overall with the lighter traffic load, it is a pretty smooth start to the day. We don't really have any weather concerns through the morning either. So it's a day where the earlier you can get out and about and get things done, the better, because we're going to see things go down a hill on us, unfortunately. And it comes with the snow picking up as we get into the early afternoon. After about 1 o'clock is when it looks like we start to see our issues. And you can see how quickly it goes downhill on us as that snow picks up. We could see 1 to 2 inch per hour rates as some of these pockets of heavier snow end up moving through the area. So as we get into the mid-afternoon through the evening commute, you're going to want to expect some very difficult travel. We'll have gusts up to 35 miles per hour out of the north as well alongside this. And the snow itself likely doesn't wrap up until we get closer to the midnight hour. So that is going to be a time frame that you want to be prepared for things to be pretty rough out there. As far as how much snow we end up seeing, a band right through the middle of the metro with 3 to 7 inches looking likely. This is about 24 hours ago. We were expecting this to be closer to the Sioux Falls area, and this whole system has shifted southward. They are now looking at much lighter totals there, and we have now gotten that band in our area, so we need to be prepared for that. Quick drop in the amounts as you head off to the south, a lot more dry air as you get closer to Rockport, down to Tecumseh, you get south of Nebraska City. You're not going to see much out of this at all. And then you have the 1 to 3 inch bands there closer to Norfolk and Denison. So along the I-80 corridor and right through the heart of the metro is where we see the highest totals end up out of this. A lot of us will be in the 3, 4, 5 inch territory, but where we get some of those pockets of the heavier snow coming down quicker is where those totals will drift to the upper end of that range. So not everyone gets 7 inches, but there will be some that likely end up with that. And then when you combine that wet, heavy snow with the wind that'll be in place, we get some gusts up around 30 miles per hour, 35 miles per hour into the evening. That, as the snow falls, will create some low visibility in addition to the slick conditions. So there's the concern as we get into the afternoon and evening, and that's where we look at the conditions deteriorating on us out of the system. So overall threat impacts. Here's what you're looking at. Let me move that out of the way. Snow totals about 3 to 7, as we mentioned, a little bit less to the south. Get those gusts that are up around 35 miles per hour, and it is both the visibility concern and the conditions that are why the evening commute could really get rough. So again, if you're looking to try to get things done, the earlier you could do that in the day, the easier time you'll have with that and the less hazardous travel you'll have to contend with. I don't have it mentioned in here, but also don't sleep on the fact that we are looking at much colder weather today. The wind chills right now in the teens, temperatures in the 20s, and we'll only make it to about 34 today. Wind chills will peak around 20 degrees, and keep in mind the last few days have been 60s and 70s, so that will be jarring for you, and another reason why you don't want to run into any difficulties as you're out and about if you're trying to get things done, get home from work, whatever you may be driving, whenever you may be driving and what you may be driving for. You want to try to limit those impacts and dress warm too, warmer than you've had to for much of February. I do want to revisit, I know a lot of people join in for these live streams to see where we're at with the commute right now, so let me show you where that stands. And once again, there's where we're at. It's a pretty green map. We don't really have much in the way of issues at this point. I'll do another quick scan just to make sure that nothing else has popped in. But with the amount of schools that have canceled, that has resulted in a much lighter traffic load. Just a couple minor slowdowns that are showing up on that map. You can see that around 144th near I-80. One spot where things are a little bit slower at this time. If I could get my mouse to work here. Let's see. There we go. So right about that area, you can see southbound slowing down a little bit. And then you've got a couple areas around Benson, Northwest Radio Highway with some small delays. Nothing that's a big deal at this time. Most of the metro moving along in pretty good shape. Again, a lot of the concern with travel will come later in the day. I've had some questions today as far as you've got Iowa State wrestling happening in Des Moines, what things look like in the Des Moines area. Let me pull up the snow map, and you can see, I know, of course, we have some Nebraska State wrestling happening in Omaha. So you know the conditions. We just talked about that at length with the 3 to 7 inches. I do want to zoom out a little bit, though, and give you that idea for anyone who may be traveling further beyond our area, and you can see Des Moines is in that 3 to 7 inch range. So you're looking at some pretty rough travel as you get further to the east. I-80, you get in some of those more open areas. You'll have that north wind blowing that snow around and really taking that visibility down. So late this afternoon into the evening, you're going to be up against it if you're trying to do that travel. Had some questions about Epley, if there could be impacts to flights. Given the time frame of when we see that snow making its way through, if you have any flights that are 1 p.m. and beyond, you just want to make sure you're keeping close tabs on that, as we could be looking at potential for delays, maybe cancellations, depending on where those planes are coming from, going to, and then how the snow rates are setting up in the metro. So that is definitely a possibility. You just want to make sure you're staying on top of it. And if you missed it earlier, this is the outline of how things go for travel later today. It's right around 1 to 2 p.m. when we start to pick that snowfall rate up and we really start to fill things in on the map. And it's not going to take long for things to go downhill from there. Likely that we end up with some totals. A lot of us getting those totals in that 3 to 5 inch range, and then a couple of isolated spots that end up closer to 6 inches or maybe even up towards 7. But the evening commute does look like it will have some problems as we have that snow on the roads. We'll have some gusts 30, 35 miles per hour to the north that would cause visibility concerns as the snow falls at that same time frame. Likely that we spill some of these impacts into our Friday morning, by the way. The snow wraps up about midnight, but we'll have to deal with what's left over on the roads as we get to the start of our Friday. So keep that in mind as you start thinking about what things look like for tomorrow. I think while we're here, try to bring up the closures list that we have on our website. So stand by for that. All right, so you're about to see our website. This is firstalert6.com, and you notice there's a lot of banners in place there. You've got your weather alerts, you've got our information on the First Alert 6 weather day, which is what we were just running through. But notice this one, closings and delays. You click that one, and you can look through here, and there's all kinds of closings, delays that are listed in here. If that's a little overwhelming with all those that are listed out there, you can go by category. Maybe you're looking for schools. You could do that. And there you could see some of the specific schools that have closures. Bennington, Blair, you scroll down the list, you'll see Creighton Prep, a number of other schools, Gretna, Omaha, public schools. The list goes on. You do have a couple in there that have early dismissals. That includes Council Bluffs. That will be dismissing at the times that you see there, depending on if you are middle school, high school, or elementary. And then Lewis Central, also in Council Bluffs, will be doing a 90-minute early dismissal today. So you can find all that information as you need it on our website right there. While we are here, I'm going to go ahead and pull up the Epley website, because I do think this will be pretty useful for some people. You just go right there to flyoma.com, and there is a, if I go to the main page here, you just have to, this is where you go if you hit flyoma, and you can look at your flight information, go to arrivals and departures, and as you go to departures, you'll notice that at this point, we don't have really much in the way of impacts right now. This is going to be a page that will be useful for you, though, if you have flight plans today, because you're going to be looking, oops, lost the page there, but you're going to be looking at things likely getting a little busier there as we get that snow moving in and things kind of picking up with the snow combining with that wind. So keep that in mind if you're going to be trying to travel by air. If you're traveling by car, this is your timeline of how things deteriorate through the afternoon and the evening. I think with that, that will wrap up this live stream. Again, we'll be hopping back onto live streams throughout the day, keeping you posted on how things proceed with this snow as it makes its way in. Again, we're looking at probably our most impactful snowfall of the year so far. We've only had 4.3 inches in Omaha all season long, looking at 3 to 7 inches for this afternoon and the evening. We'll keep you posted on this First Alert 6 weather day.